This is D with Divine L. I wanted to bring some information forward for those that don't see what I see. We're going to be talking about scare tactics and coercion and short-term memory loss. Here's the thing. The whole thing with a pandemic. Remote viewers remote viewed that. It was released in a laboratory by accident in Wuhan, China. Whether you believe it or not, it was remote viewed that an ET race happened to be going by when that occurred. And they could have stopped it. But they decided not to because they could use it to their advantage. And they are. Very insidious advantage. So here's the thing. I know a lot of you are in frustrating fights. You've either been vaccinated and you believe what the media has been telling you, and you believe it will actually help if you get vaccinated, prevent the spread, and you've been programmed by the media to go against those that have not been vaccinated. To the point that many people are in heated arguments, debates, etc., over vaccinating or not vaccinating. Just like there's been heated debates over that very thing with measles, mumps, rubella, and everything else, even though it's a proven fact that the incidence of spectral disorders is astronomically high because of vaccination, MMR particularly. Measles, mumps, rubella, for those who don't know what it stands for. So many of you are in squabbles with each other. So much so that you're so busy with that squabble that they're busy pushing other agendas right under your nose. And they definitely took advantage of that virus being released in the Wuhan lab. Even the government's now coming forward saying, yes, it was released in a Wuhan lab. We knew that many, many months ago because remote viewers saw it. And now they're just now coming forward and saying, yeah, that's probably what happened. They knew it all along. They're just really bad liars. Because they knew the truth was getting out, that they already knew about it and where it came from. So now they're doing damage control. Oh yeah, it probably came from that lab. Oh, no joke. It's one of those no shit Sherlock. Problem is, most of the programmed Americans, or programmed world, believes what they're seeing on their local news. Anyway, so now we're facing this issue of the vaccine, those that took it, and our shedders, and those that didn't. You have good reason to be suspicious of anything that the government does. You have absolutely every reason to be suspicious. Unethical human testing has been done by our government on its own people for a very, very long time. They do like to test their pets. Remember I talked about that song, Jane's Addiction, the singer who's in Pyro for Porn, or Porno for Pyros, that's what it is. That's the name of the band, Porno for Pyros. There's a song they did called We Make Great Pets. They seem to think we do. Hmm. Hmm. Anyway, so those of you that felt like something was amiss about this whole getting vaccinated thing, how it rolled out entirely too quickly, these COVID vaccines. First of all, I can tell you that those vaccines were already ready, underway, and being worked on way before the virus was released from that lab. But remember, those ETs saw what happened and didn't prevent the spread of it because they could have. Hmm. Because they have ulterior motives for not stopping it because they're going to use it for to their advantage. We're their pets, or that's what they think. Cattle, whatever you want to call us, in their eyes. It's just like when you take your dog or cat to the vet and get them microchipped. Except for you do it out of love because you care about your pets. And if they got lost, you want to be able to find them and bring them home. That's not what the government has in mind. Mm-mm. But I'll get to that. So let's start near the beginning. Besides the fact it was released in a Wuhan lab. It didn't start in the fish market. It wasn't because somebody eating a bat and all the other bullshit lies the media told you. Because they even came forward later and go, oh, they don't admit that they told you the wrong thing. No. But they'll suddenly come forward and go, oh, yes, this was released from a Wuhan lab. Even though they told you it's because it started with some fish market, it wasn't the fish market. It was somebody who attended the fish market that was in the lab. They eat down there at that market on their lunch breaks and stuff. Okay, let's get it straight. It wasn't because somebody ate tainted fish or a bat or what have you. Like all the lies they feed you, all the programming. And people are so quick to forget the lies that were told to them. People are really quick to forget that. And that's because of short-term memory loss. And there's a lot of reasons why that's occurring. First of all, too busy on the hamster wheel to think straight. Drugs. Many of the newfangled antidepressants And painkillers like Ultram, aka Tramadol, are known to affect short-term memory. So most of you can't remember what you had for dinner last night, much less the fact that the media lied to you a few months ago. And so they're getting very brazen about the lies they tell you guys when they're programming you. Very brazen because nobody calls them out on it. Or when somebody does, they're called a conspiracy theorist. Well, it's not a conspiracy if it's in black and white and it's in their own on their own websites what they did and didn't report. Huh? It's not a theory, a conspiracy theory, if it's point blank black and white truth. How can that be a conspiracy theory? Really? It doesn't add up by definition. Anyway, between fluoride, antidepressants, drugs like tramadol, and many other things, the public has a very short-term memory issue. They also do things like TikTok, Facebook, and a lot of other things that are for short attention spans. They're geared towards people that don't have good memory. And it actually feeds that issue of their memory being not so hot. Because what they should be doing is doing memory games and things that help them with their memory. Because the more you use it, the better you get at it. Even if you've taken those things that mess up your short-term memory. Not only that, but detoxing your liver, um, diatomaceous earth, milk thistle. Diatomaceous earth is great for the pineal gland, decalcifying because of fluoride, and it also helps the particles actually grab and hold onto heavy metals and things like that, like that's in the water, etc. Anything that's gotten into your body via like canned tuna, mercury, etc. It's great for expelling that from your system. So I'm not a licensed physician. However, I've spent many, many years in not only the medical field and going to college pre-med, but also the fact that, yeah, well, I wasn't trained by the programmers. Let's just say that. Studied genetics and how that plays a part on you and who's who. Anyway, back to short-term memory loss. There's things you can do to help that. Just look into detoxing your system of heavy metals and with diatomaceous earth or other things. It's just personal advice, not medical advice. Anyway, so here we have this whole COVID thing, and we got the fight over who's vaccinated, who's not vaccinated. And everybody's eyes are off of what is going on because they're too busy fighting with each other, just like they try to divide everybody by religion and race. And sex. Yeah, they try to divide you by your sex or sexuality. Yeah, it's all about division because they keep you guys all fighting. You won't look at each other and go, wow, you're me and I'm you. And we should be working as a team. against those that are trying to keep us all fighting with each other when we're really just souls in a biosuit. We're all really the same. Yeah. These things on the outside, these are literally just biomechanic suits to transport our souls around. In the end, that's the bottom line. That's it. Seriously. In the end. So, whatever skin you have is irrelevant when it comes to the quandary that everybody has in front of them. One that they may not even realize they have in front of them. So now we have this new Delta variant that supposedly is a mutation. I don't have proof, but I believe it's another release, but this time an intentional one. I don't have the proof for that, but my instincts are pretty banging. Yeah. It was released to help push the agenda a little further and a little deeper. And I'll show you why. First of all, when the whole Delta thing came out, the first thing the news said was, oh my God, we have a new variant and the vaccines are not effective against it. First thing they said, they admitted, our vaccines aren't made for this variant. They don't work against it. Nope, doesn't work against it. It's a proven fact that those that had the COVID vaccine are getting the Delta variant. hmm The vaccines are not effective against the Delta variant. But then they turn around. Now, here's the problem with the short term memory issues people are having. First, they come out and they say it's not effective against the Delta variant. Even if you're vaccinated, the Delta variant can still affect you. There's a headline right there. Yeah. See? Fully vaccinated Ambridge man contracts Delta variant of COVID-19. The vaccines are not effective against the Delta variant. They stated it in the news. That they stated it, period. And it's a fact. Here's a fully vaccinated guy getting Delta variant, okay? This Delta variant, like I said, was released too, but it wasn't an accidental release. I think this one was 100% intentional. 100%. hmm Then you have Dr. Ding Dong says current vaccines will stand up to the Delta variant. Really? Where did he get his information? Really? Aren't they kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth? First they say it's not effective, and now they're saying it's effective. Even though people are getting the Delta variant? Doesn't Does nobody stop to ask why? Is it because of the short-term memory loss that some of you people aren't awake? I know most of you that watch this channel are fully awake and fully aware that this whole thing is horseshit. Yeah, the whole thing. You see right through their little, tactics. Mhm. But they're banking on most of the public, the programmed public with short-term memory loss, will totally forget that they said that the vaccines weren't good against the Delta variant, or that people have gotten sick with the Delta variant that are fully vaccinated. Mhm. They're counting on your short-term memory loss because of all the fluoride and all the other things that they've introduced into your systems. Yeah. Antidepressants, painkillers, all mess with short-term memory. They're banking on that. Then we have this. So suddenly, supposedly, this Delta variant is going catastrophically through Missouri, particularly the southern part, supposedly. And our esteemed governor, I should correct myself, Crook. I know him personally. Crook is a better term. Ask for help from the feds as COVID cases climb in Missouri. Hmm. Yep. This is just a couple of days ago. July 2nd. Okay. You want the exact? Surge response teams wants help from federal surge response teams to deal with the climbing COVID cases. They don't call Missouri the show me state for nothing. At least the ones that aren't thoroughly programmed. Mhm. So the crook asked for help from the other crooks. Yeah, this was orchestrated because not as many people here in this state have fallen for the programming, and they're awake and aware, and they don't trust the government, and they know that the government has unethically tested on human beings more times than you can count. They test you all kinds of ways, and not just with viruses and HIV and syphilis and all the other nasty things that they've unleashed upon the people they're supposedly protecting. What they've also been testing on you mentally, and you're not even aware, or at least most of you aren't. Most of the people who watch this channel are aware of it. Well, a good deal of people are not aware that they use mental tactics and testing out how will they and how will they respond if we do this? And it's kind of like the boiling frog thing. You know, the frog's in the water and it's all comfy and everything's fine. And then they turn the heat on. It starts getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Yeah, that's a thing. So the crook asked the other crooks for help. And now, as of yesterday, federal officials pushed back after the crook says Missouri doesn't want door-to-door COVID-19 vaccine help. And you know, they say it in a nice way, coercion. But they say, what was their words? Oh yes, down here. I have directed our health department to let the federal government know. Well, why isn't the crook letting them know himself? Why is he telling the health department to let the other crooks know? That sending government employees or agents door to door to compel vaccination would not be an effective or a welcome strategy in Missouri. Hmm. So why doesn't he tell him? Why doesn't he tell the health department? Why is he directing them to tell them? Why isn't that crook telling the big crooks who he asked to come to Missouri, by the way, that they shouldn't send their agents door to door or the military door to door to compel? That's a nice word for coercion and enforcement. Look it up. Whether you got vaccinated or didn't get vaccinated doesn't matter. Do you not see the big picture here? They're warming people up, you know, the boiling frog thing. They're warming people up because they're going to be coming door to door. And if those of you that got vaccinated are going, "Yay, good, they're vaccinating everybody. They're making those dummies get their vaccinations." You'll regret that celebration because have you thought about what's next in the boiling frog? Oops, my wife got pregnant with that third kid and the government said no more than two. Oops, they're at the door. They're dragging my wife out. They're beating the shit out of me because I'm trying to stop them for that forced abortion because she got pregnant again and she wasn't supposed to. Or, oh my gosh, my kid got a D in in school. I mean programming. He got a D in his programming because he's not programming right. They're going to take him away from us because we're not raising him the way they think we should. So they come to the door and take him. Boiling frog. And what about after that? Oh, the state representative needs a kidney transplant, but nobody in his family wants to come forward or is a match. But guess what? This person over here is, and they force you by coming to your door with the military to compel you. Hmm. They're going to compel you to do whatever they want because you're their pets. You're their cattle. That's how they see you. Yeah. I have directed our health department to let the federal government know that sending government employees or agents door to door to compel a vaccination would not be effective or a welcome strategy in Missouri. Oh, really, crook? Really? Because I know while he was sheriff for Polk County, people were allowed to shoot at your house and get away with it. And nothing was done about it. He's a fucking crook. Bank on that. Then they're talking about local trusted messengers, faith leaders, and stuff to go door to door. So, so he calls in the federal government. They want to go door to door, and supposedly he's told the health department to tell them no. Why didn't he tell them no? Because I guarantee that somehow, hmm, those federal agents aren't going to get told no, not to do it, and they're going to do it anyway. And go, we didn't get the memo from you, Parsons, directly. Why didn't he directly tell them no? You have to ask these questions, you really do. Anyway, what's next? One too many pregnancies and they come drag your wife out and give her an abortion? And you get your ass beat for trying to stop it? What's next? Boiling frogs. Programmed boiling frogs. What's next? How will they know that they can come to your house, you vaccinated boiling frogs? How will they know? Let me introduce you to something called nanotech. If you haven't paid attention to your local programming, they've talked about nanotech and all the possibilities. It's in those shots. Nanotech. You see, remember, they were trying to push some of the bigwigs at Microsoft and Google and stuff were trying to push microchips under the skin. And there were some ding-dongs that stepped up and go, "Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. I could just pay my bills by swiping my hand." Epitome of laziness, first of all. But, yeah, it's handy-dandy, but there's the downside. Nobody thinks to ask, well, what could it be used for besides that? They'll know your DNA, your blood type. They'll know what you ate, what you drank, what you've ingested, drugs, etc., whether you had sex or not, what's your heart rate, your pulse, and your location. Yeah, all kinds of things they can know because their little eyes in the sky that can see an asshole on a net aren't good enough, evidently. No, they want to be able to track you anywhere you go. And that's why they're trying to sell you this 5G and how they need antennas at every corner. Yeah, that those antennas need to be close together so they can track you with your little nanotech chips that are even smaller than the little tiny chips that they were trying to make trendy by putting them in tattoos and stuff. Oh, look at my tattoo chip. It's so trendy. I'm so on top of it all. Oh my gosh, did you see that? That one doesn't have this cool tattoo like I do. Hmm, yeah, give me a frickin' break. Programmed boiling frogs. Do you not beat to the march of your own drum? Hmm. Are you lacking in brain cells? Because I'm assuming that's the issue if you fall for that kind of BS. So, that representative up there in the state capitol needs a transplant. And his value or worth on their scale of cattle is much greater than yours. So you're a perfect match for this one. So they come drag you out of your house. Or let's say they compel you to donate your kidney. Hmm. What's next, folks? Boiling frogs. Sorry, I'm trying to get under people's skin for a reason. They need to get mad, and I mean effing mad. They really do. Because if they're willing to come to your door to try to compel you to get that vaccination, what's next? Remember, when you were given a social security number originally, and look this up, it's history, that number was never supposed to be used for anything but social security purposes. But now, against the law, I might add, they're using your social security number to track you financially, which is against the law, but they do it every day. Can't open a bank account without that social security number. Can't get a loan for that new house without that social security number. Um, oh my gosh, my FICO score. Oh my gosh, did you see how high it is? And oh yeah, remember, I've got this new tattoo. Do you have one? And oh, yeah, I had this vaccination, and I'm just so cool because I got that done. And everybody that hasn't done that, ew, we don't want to be around you. You're just slime. Well trained boiling frogs. Well programmed boiling frogs. Hmm. So this pops up, a TikTok video. This is an ER and somebody working in the ER. Check this out.
Figured out, Justine. Scan this arm.
Okay.
Now here's my vaccinated arm.
I cheated myself.
What? No. No.
Do it again.
No. Dude,
I was.
Now this one.
I told you
you gotta be.
I was trouble. You know.
A scanner, just like what a vet uses to scan your pets for microchips, something of that nature. Hmm. Do yourself a favor. Look up unethical human testing and the history of the World Health Organization and the National Institute of Health, their track record and what they've been behind, including unethical human testing. It was actually proven in a court of law that they gave black men syphilis on purpose. That government that's supposed to be protecting you sees you as cattle. And if you haven't figured that out yet, then it's not a good day for you, I'm suspecting, if you're even listening at all, which is unlikely. Most of you, with all the drugs and everything else, the amnesia, unfortunately, aren't mentally capable of wrapping your heads around that. And it's not your fault. Not 100% your fault at all. But don't go around giving those that were smart enough not to stand in line for those shots or bow down to what the government tells us because we know they're crooks and liars. Giving them grief is the last thing you should be doing, because trust me, the ones that haven't been vaccinated, they pity you and see you as a shedder, someone that's spreading. And I wouldn't have put it past the government to put that Delta variant in the vaccinations themselves. And no, I'm not kidding. There's a high likelihood, very high. Governments do things to thin the herd, their cattle, their pets. If this whole thing with this door-to-door crap in Missouri goes down, you're next. And you become the boiling frog. And whenever you do something they don't like, they can compel you to do whatever they want by coming to your door. Your body's no longer your choice, period. Or what you do with it, or what you do with your children, or how many times a week you have sex with your wife, or how many beers did you have last week. They can compel you to do whatever they want. And if they can look up your information, such as your heart rate and all that with that nanotech that they injected you with, you can be sure that they can enforce using that same nanotech. Like, you suddenly fall ill because they don't want you driving that day because you had a beer yesterday. Do you see where the boiling frog issue comes into play here? If you don't Wow, I hope you're not breeding because we don't need that kind of IQ level on this planet. I know that sounds mean, but it's true. There's those of us that do have the IQ level that see through what's happening. Can you imagine our frustration to those that aren't seeing what we see? And we can even prove it's happening. And yet some people don't seem to have the brain cells to comprehend it. The frustration level that happens for us is extreme because you guys can't save yourselves. You couldn't fight yourself way out of a wet paper bag if you tried. And that leaves it up to us, the ones that are awake, to fight for the ones that can't seem to fight for themselves. Like I said, some of that is not their fault. Between the drugs and all the other things that have happened to them, the programming and all, it's not their fault. So try not to, trust me, I want to unleash verbally on them like nobody's business. But that's pretty futile, and if you think about it, a lot of it's not their fault. But maybe if they see videos like this one where you piece together, remember, let me jog your memory. I know you are having memory problems, but let me jog it. They said that the vaccines were not effective against Delta. People that had the vaccines are indeed contracting the Delta. As a matter of fact, many of them probably got Delta from the vaccine. Hint, hint. And now they're wanting to go door to door and compel you to do whatever they want. So we have to step them through it step by step. Do you see where they're lying to you and things aren't quite adding up? There's some of them out there that may not even get it after you go step by step by step showing. They still go, oh, like I said, they can't help it. And it's devastating to those that can, devastating to us. Anyway, everybody hang in there. Try not to fight amongst each other over silly things like, did you get vaccinated or not? What's your skin color or not? What's your religion or not? What's your sexual preference or not? Stop fighting over the inane, ludicrous reasons. Start worrying about what the future holds when you got governments compelling you door to door. And the whole boiling frog thing. Wow. I can tell you one thing. Missouri's the show me state. Because we say prove it. If the federal government goes down to Texas and starts going door to door, they'll be shooting. Yeah. Well, guess what? Here in Missouri, they'll get exactly the same greeting that Texas would give them. Well, a lot of these states are that way. Missouri is definitely one of them. Because most of the people here do not trust the government for good reason, because the government is the ones that see you as cattle and have done horrible things to you, unbeknownst to you. Anyway, rant over, if you call it a rant. I don't think it's so much a rant, it's just trying to inform those that are slower or memory impaired on the issue at hand and how serious it has become when that people live in the United States and they're talking about going door to door as if this were China, where they force people to do what they want, in other countries. Yeah, anyway, there you go. I can tell you this much. They don't compel me, and I'm nobody's pet. Mhm. Just ask my husband. I don't make a good pet. Anyway, have a really good day. Food for thought. Pass it along. Maybe some of those that don't realize what's going on in front of their face, maybe this step by step by step video showing them how they get lied to in the news media and by the government and stuff, maybe this will wakey some people. We can only hope. Because the more that are, the easier it makes this for the rest of us that are. Because, yeah, we need their help, right? Anyway, take care, guys. Hang in there and don't let them divide you. Okay? Bye.